Welcome, foolish mortals. Your father has brought you a haunting nail art video. Are you just making fun of the fact that I lowered my voice? Sports!
No, I'm just looking at all of the wiggling of the eyebrows.
No!
There was a lot of eyebrow action there, bud. A lot. Those eyebrows went on the entirety of the Haunted Mansion. They sat in the queue for an hour, and then went through the whole Doom Buggy, and then got out, and then went to the gift shop.
Welcome, foolish mortals. In case y'all can't tell, spooky is my favorite holiday, but also I love fall in general. I just love when the leaves start to change colors, a cool new breeze is blowing through the air, and Halloween decorations are popping up everywhere. And I can finally wear my cozy hoodies because I'm usually so sweaty. In fact, I'm already warm. Take this. This is my Halloween costume. Woo! What am I?
A shirt ghost?
No! I'm a wacky arm flailing inflatable tube man!
Perhaps.
I think it's spot on.
I think that you're regularly a wacky, waving, inflatable, flailing arm tube man.
I'm taking this back. Overall, I just love that combination of whimsical and horror, so I'ma put it on my nails. I'm still pretty proud of the last 2 Halloween nail arts that I've done, but I wanted to make this more cohesive and less like November clearance sale at HomeGoods. So today I'm gonna show you 5 different Halloween nail arts of varying difficulties that all fit together in a harmonious color palette. And I know y'all are dying to get into these nail arts, so let's boogin. No, that's still a terrible pun. Yeah, that's the screams of all of them after that pun that you wrote. To begin, I started with base layers in a cool gray to black gradient. All of the polishes used will be in the description below, but feel free to use something similar if you don't have these exact ones. I put black on my thumb, a cool gray on my middle finger, a lighter gray on my ring finger, and a super desaturated light blue on my pinky. Now I will get into each specific nail art one at a time, but I did have to do some setup on the base layers before actually starting each design. For my index finger, I painted the Silent Scream by Mooncat, which is a black polish with a bright silver magnetic pigment. I painted one coat on magnetized and then painted the second coat Aura style in my horseshoe magnet. Then while still in the magnet, I painted a top coat to lock in the magnetic effect. On the pinky, I did put on Holo Taco's new Aqua glow in the dark so it can glow under the nail art. And with those base layers done, my biggest nail art pro tip is to paint a top coat prior to painting designs, as the top coat gives you a smooth surface to work on, and prevents picking up the background layer when manipulating polish on the nail. First up, I wanted to make a ton of spooky ghosties. Think like a crowd of classic bedsheet ghosts casually waiting for the bus. Okay. Go lay down on the pickle, Tiger. Go ahead. I don't know how we stand it.
We don't.
So first, using the blue glow-in-the-dark top coat, I painted 2 vertical wobbly lines using the sides of the bottle brush. You want to start the line high up on the nail and try to maintain relatively even thickness on the way down. Then, using the classic glow color, I repeated the process in between the 2 lines. Next, I showed off my aversion to using a dotting tool and used my tiny brush to make tiny little dots for the ghost's eyes. Ghosts.
Ghost jazz.
Snake jazz.
No, now it's ghost jazz.
The eyes should be near the top of their heads and should be relatively level. Now 3 is technically a crowd, but I want a horde of spooky ghosties, so I repeated this process a few more times. The goal was to start each ghost lower and lower and have the body of the ghost reside in the gap between the previous ghosties. I also lined the bottom of the nail with the glow that was in the foreground to make it look like the ghosts all coalesced into an eerie glow and make the nail art look slightly more uniform. And in the end, I have 7 new spooky nail children looking up at me, and I love them.
It's so cute. Stop. They're so cute.
My husband, I think I've outdone myself. Like, look at them.
This ghost, gnarly. That ghost, Gnarly.
Love Cat's Eye, not this song. And holy sheet, these are so floatin' cute. But this was also probably one of the easiest nail arts that I've done, so y'all really need to try this. And if you've been following my channel for long, you probably know that I love unnecessary rating scales for things. So for each nail art, I'm gonna rate things on their difficulty, impact, length of time, and how fun they were. So as I said, this was one of the simplest nail arts that I've ever done, so this is gonna get a 1 out of 5. Quick note, low score is good in this category. It's like golf. Wait, that's how golf works, right?
You're asking the wrong person, Diva.
For impact, I freaking love these little ghosty babies, but when they're not glowing, they do kind of just look like a bunch of dots on the nail, so unfortunately it's gonna get a 2 out of 5 here. As for the length of time, this was only 5 minutes of painting footage, so I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 5. Once again, low score is good here. And finally, for fun, this is gonna get a 5 out of 5, because they're so cute. This came together really quickly, and I love them so much. I will protect you with all of my heart. Next up, I want to try a classic cat in the moon silhouette, so that means I need to make a moon. I use Cirque's White Lie here because not only does it have fantastic coverage, but it also is blacklight reactive for an extra effect. I started by painting a circle with my tiny brush and then filled it in a little lazily. However, that was the goal since slight differences in white tones actually make the moon look more realistic. Then I also added some blue glow in the dark over just the moon. Now, I had a lot of unearned confidence coming off of the massive success of the Ghost crowd that I thought it was a good idea to do this with the bottle brush. I would not recommend this. Quick pause.
So cute.
I love that thing so much. Now to start the kitty, this does take a little bit of drawing practice, but I think I can break this down in a way that is attainable. I started with 2 lines around the vertical midpoint of the moon that tapered inwards without touching, that eventually run parallel after they leave the moon.
That was so many words.
There's a visual here.
I know.
I really think this makes sense if you're watching it.
The 2 lines.
Starting around the vertical midpoint of the moon that tapered inwards without touching, that eventually run parallel after exiting the moon. Shoo.
So like you kind of made like a Y shape, but
No.
well, it's like a
Oh, it's a Y shape that's split
but
up.
like a split Y.
Yeah.
So maybe let's say that as well.
We're gonna run into this a lot in this video.
Yeah, I know. I really should have read this.
You really should have read this. I started by drawing 2 lines that kind of look like if you took a capital Y, split it down the middle, and had a little bit of space between them. Or, if you like my explanation more, let me know in the comments below. I think I am detailed. The right line is going to be the back leg and the tail, so the tail needs to be extended vertically upwards. Now for the silhouette of the cat, I did sketch this out first and use a reference picture. However, if you can't tell from this footage, I was very indecisive of what to do next when actually painting it. So I ended up starting building out the head of the cat on the left side with a triangle.
The first line we painted?
They're along with me on the journey.
The royal we.
They are with me, and they helped me paint this. I would not have been able to do that without their love and support. Thank you. The first line I painted is actually going to become an ear, so I added another spike on the far left side of the triangle to be the other ear. And this is also when you may start to be able to see that it's going to become a kitty cat. Then to finish the body, I painted 2 arcs connecting the base of the ear and the base of the tail, and connecting the 2 legs. And finally, I filled in the body to complete the cat. Now, I wanted to give it something to be sitting on, so I used a little bit of nail polish thinner to re-wet the polish I was using to paint a large semicircle underneath. And this was originally going to be how the design ended, however it felt too simple, so I added some tombstones of various shapes to fill out the background.
Look at it. Oh, it's so cute.
You know, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Like the cat on the house.
Oh, I was going for graveyard.
Oh, that too. That actually makes a lot more sense. I don't know why it would be a cat on a house.
You're thinking Fiddler on a roof.
Look at the ghosties.
Look at that though.
What?
You see the schmutz on the door?
I wish I didn't. This thing, gnarly.
Are you gonna say that for every single one?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I did actually make the tail longer afterwards. Oh yeah, much better. Much better. I was a little iffy until I made the tail longer, and I did end up liking it a little bit more. A lot more? More. As for difficulty, I'm gonna give this a 2.5 because it's not really that challenging, but I still recommend sketching it out or practicing first. In terms of the impact, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I think the large, bright moon makes the silhouette so much more striking and stands out on the nail. As for the length of time, I'm gonna give this a 1.5 because I looked back at the footage and it was only 9 minutes of painting. As for fun, I'm gonna rate this a 2 because it was cute, it was fun to put together, but it was also a little stressful because it was just going in directly with the black and you kinda can't go back after you mess that up. Do I have a final thoughts or can I just swoosh?
Let me ask you a single question. Would you do this again?
I'd maybe make this nail art again and maybe do something with like a background layer as well so there's even more graves, because if I did this as a full hand manicure, it's probably a touch too simple or too much. I don't know.
Like extend the scene across.
Yeah, extend the scene.
Like bats flying in the silhouette of the moon.
Yeah.
You know there's bats on the moon?
No?
Look it up. It's real.
No, I'm not even going to entertain that thought.
The moon landing was fake.
Okay, we're not doing this.
The earth is flat.
Gnarly.
Dat paw, gnarly. I saw a video that said that canned pumpkin, sometimes it's not actually like 100%, it's not like pure pumpkin. That was my fun fact. That I don't know if it's fun or a fact. That was my statement of unknown truth.
Oh my god.
You can have this.
Thank you.
That's for you.
Now on the pointer finger with the velvet magnetization, it was actually the husband's idea to make some kind of spooky broken mirror design. So I used black polish to create a slightly elongated circular shape. And I tried...
Oval?
No, I mathed this. It is not an oval. Because the next line that I said is I tried to make it a rounded rectangle with very rounded edges. This is not ovular, nor is it an ellipse.
You're speaking in geometric terms that
I'm like 47% I'm correct here. 47% I'm correct here? 47% what?
correct.
I'm holding a pumpkin. Which was then followed by filling the outside with black to form the mirror in negative space. This one was incredibly difficult to stay symmetrical while filming, so ignore any eclipses that you see of my bald head onto my nails, as I really needed the top-down view to check symmetry. But ultimately I did have to do some quick off-camera tweaking to be satisfied. Next, I thinned out the black polish, and to make the thinnest lines possible, I wiped off as much as I could on my mat before painting. To make the crack, I created short lines of relatively uniform length in a zigzag shape, making sure to add some slight variability in the angle of the lines to not look too uniform. And from somewhere near the center, I added another crack that also diverged for more visual interest. And this is already pretty stunning, but I wanted it to look more like an antique mirror and less like a broken crystal ball. So I went in with some gold polish and the small brush again to line the mirror. It did take 2 coats to get to full opacity, but I did also use this outline as a chance to further tweak any symmetry issues I noticed while making the crack.
This mirror, gnarly.
Not again. I think it actually looks pretty good.
It's D.
It's nice, you mean to say?
It's got a lot of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
What are my thoughts? Quick thoughts? Do I like it? What was the starting question? Would I do this again? No. Not because it's bad, but I think it's stunning as an accent. I don't think it makes sense as its own manicure.
What I was thinking in my mind when I gave the suggestion was like big mirror, like floor mirror.
No, I had a question. How does one make a big mirror on a small nail?
Make like a door shape.
Doors can be circular if you're a hobbit. I don't know if it would have read like a mirror.
I think what you did makes it look more like a mirror.
So what you're saying is...
You were right to do it the way you did it.
Yes.
However, it was not the vision that I had.
Vindication! As for the difficulty, I'm gonna give this a 2.5 out of 5 because it's a circle, so it's not easy, but it's not that hard in the grand scheme of things. And as for the impact, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 because this polish in Aura style is just stunning. For the length of time, I'm gonna say maybe a 2.5 or a 3 because it was like 9 minutes of painting, but you also have to wait for the Aura style to do its thing, and that's just longer. And as for fun, I'm gonna give it probably a 1 out of 5. Because magnetics are time consuming and I'm lazy, but then also circles are hard to draw. It's also hard to balance this when you move your eyebrows as much as I do.
It's the eyebrows.
Okay, so this next one is in no way what I would consider a beginner nail art, but there is a bus stop along the way that you can get off at and still have something spooky. Put a guess and a timestamp in the comments below once you figure out what I'm trying to make here. So first I started with a plus sign with white lie to get the general sizing and some semblance of symmetry. I used that to make a circle, which I then filled in with white polish and then went over it again with the blue glow in the dark. Now to make a ghosty mystical look, I thinned out the white polish with nail polish thinner and carefully drew squiggles that contoured around the ball. This is one of the reasons why I painted top coat first, as super thinned polish could potentially pick up the lower layer, potentially exposing the nail entirely. And finally, to create a slight blue glow inside the ball, I used a very light blue, thinned out and concentrated it in the center of the orb. It's Orbital Peck. Orbital Pumpkin. Orbital Pumpkin. And once we finish painting the ghostly glow, we have arrived at the bus stop. If I were to purposely make this just a crystal ball, I would add a brown trapezoid on the bottom to be the base, and maybe thin out some more dark blue to layer in the center, creating a slightly foggy gradient inside. However, I am extra if you can't tell, so I'm going to take this design a lot further. Now, for most of my nail art designs, I sketch them out first so I know what it will look like when I'm painting it upside down on camera. Beyond that, this one takes a fair amount of drawing practice before I would recommend trying it on the nail, as it will require a lot of fine motor detail. So I'm going to generally explain how this was done, but since it was so complex and I don't know if anyone will attempt this, I'm gonna go a little faster through this. I started with a light blue to sketch out the general shape of the jawline. This was continued into two swoopy lines to be the hair. I did sketch a lot of lines in this phase just to block out the general shapes, however most of this gets covered in the end as I keep layering colors. Then to start carving out facial features, I mixed up a slightly darker blue to draw the cheekbones, lips, and where the shadows would lie on the upper portion of the face. I continued going darker and darker to carve out the features more and more, like punching in the eyebrows or the line dividing the hair in her forehead. However, I would say she didn't fully come together until I finally drew closed eyes and the bottom shadow of the nose. And I repeated this process of going darker and darker to refine her features until I finally got to a place I was happy with. That is, until I semi-ruined everything by trying to go in with some lighter polish for facial highlights, ultimately muddying up the design. However, I managed to fix this with even more layers of light and dark polish to show the contours of the face better. And finally, I finished this off with a slightly broken up white line to really sell the stuck in a crystal ball look of Madame Liota. Did you get it? That said, I immediately ruined this by blurring the design with some glow-in-the-dark top coat, but I think I managed to mostly fix her by going back in again to make the darkest line stand out more.
No, wait. It's like spooky wispies?
Yeah, do you get it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks like her.
I don't remember what she looks like.
She's a blue head in a jar. What other...
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know what her facial features look like.
Wait, I want to see how she glows. Not as good.
That's okay.
So this didn't really come out how I wanted it to, but also it's nail polish and tiny, so my expectations were pretty low. It still came out better than I was expecting it to. So for difficulty, I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 5 because you really should have some drawing experience first before attempting this. But practice makes progress, so try several times, somewhere not on your nails that's easier to mess up on and doesn't matter as much, but try and you can get it, you just need to practice. For the impact, I think I'm forced to give this a 4 out of 5 because a lot of the detail just gets a little lost. And you can only really tell that it's a head in a crystal ball when you get closer to it. For the length of time, this is gonna get a 5 out of 5 because it was 20 minutes of consistent painting for that large section that I sped up for showing how I did her face. It's 20 whole minutes for one nail. Mama, who has that kind of time? Clearly me, because I'm making this video. I don't though, that's the funny part. As for fun, I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5 because personally I like drawing and I really wanted to take on this challenge.
Would you make this again?
No.
But what if it was like a whole Haunted Mansion set?
Ah. Yeah, I'd try it again. Now, I've seen a straw being used in a nail art before to make some kind of Jackson Pollock style manicure, so I wanted to try this with blood. Quick disclaimer, a blood-colored nail polish, not actual blood. Please don't do that.
That's unsanitary.
Yeah, that's the only reason why people shouldn't do that. But I want to test it first on just like white, because I don't know what it's even gonna look like. I'm just gonna put like a glob on the mat.
Are you gonna thin it?
I don't think so. Now, past me doesn't know this yet, but apparently you're actually supposed to dip the straw into the nail polish bottle. Okay, and then I think we just... Oh, well, if only I had that in frame.
Teehee. That did nothing.
That did nothing.
Did it dry too much?
Yep. I wonder also if I just like, instead of putting it...
Like if you just paint it onto the straw directly.
Onto the straw directly.
Yeah, that might be better.
It makes like a big scary glob.
Yeah, so I don't think that's what you want.
No.
Remember that time that we thought that this was going to be the easiest? This is like the easiest only in theory.
Yeah, in practice, I'm on the
I
struggle
think
bus.
you need to thin it.
All right, let's try it. It didn't even do anything. That doesn't do anything. It just makes me feel like I'm huffing in some fumes I shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but not me open-mouthed coughing like a toddler in the wild.
I feel like the first one was the best.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I'm gonna try that. Let's just... Nothing came out. I like scoop some up. Bruh.
Maybe you used the straw too much already? Like, what if we cut the straw?
It's happy Halloween, not happy bisque.
Brisk.
Oh, I forgot the word.
Bisque. This is not soup?
It got something on my nail.
Yeah.
Cut, please. I don't know if this looks blood drip or if it looks more like...
It's kind of Jackson Pollocky.
Oh, that was better. It's still not what I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was that this is supposed to be like the kind of like easy thing because you just need a straw.
I don't love it. Now, while I covered my other fingers to protect it from the splatter, I did have to clean up my pinky to remove all of the polish that was on, not the nail. So I don't really care for this one. For the difficulty, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 because once you figure out how to do it, it's not too bad. It's just, I don't care for the payoff. For the impact, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 because for me, there wasn't enough blood, but it is possible that this could have been because I was supposed to dip the straw into the bottle as opposed to just painting it on the side like I did. For the length of time, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 because this was only 7 minutes of footage. But it would be a lot quicker if I was repeating this on every nail after I figured out how to do it. And for fun, I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 5 because I do not like breathing in nail polish fumes. And here's the full hand of nail arts. Honestly, I really love how this came out, but I think that's cause I had the color palette in mind. So it looks more like a harmonious spooky manicure and less like 5 totally separate Halloween nail arts. But in the glow, I am still so violently obsessed with these little ghosties. They are my dead children and I will protect them forever. Now I did also put on a top coat later. It didn't blur, so that was good, but it is full of bubbles. This is the most bubbly manicure mess I think I've ever made, and it fills me with sadness.
What do you think happened that resulted in bubbles?
I think a certain husband has a tendency to shake top coats and then puts it down.
I stopped doing that. You can't blame me for that.
I can and I will. I think what happened here is that because I really floated the brush to make sure that I wasn't dragging it, I just put way too much on and never pushed the bubbles out like you normally do when you actually drag it onto it. Yeah, so my bad.
Too much float.
So now that you've seen everything, let me know what you think. Does this manicure raise the dead or does it belong 6 feet under? Though if you do any of them, please tag me on socials as it just makes me so happy to see when people use my nail art tutorials. Oh, also, this is the 50th video on this channel. So that's just freaking awesome. Like, I really didn't think we'd get this far, let alone this happen after hitting 10K subs. But that's really thanks to y'all, and I just can't express my appreciation more. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, we do have memberships, so you can click the link in the description below if you're interested. You get cute little emojis. So thank you to the Titan Wranglers, and an extra special shout out to the many members of the Silver Spurs Club. Why did I add so much alliteration there? Doesn't matter. I love you all. Thank you. Like you, and you, and you, and all of you. Anyways, I'm gonna go gargle an entire bag of Reese's, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. Morning. Hello. Hi. Oh my god, he's so zonked.